asked for a little bit of advice beforehand, and he said, Dr. J, what are the foremost combo decks I can play? So that's where he got Quest Rogue, APM Priest, and Shutterwalk Shaman. He just wanted the most combo-esque decks he could play.
So under your...
Under my supervision as fellow DreamHack Atlanta champion, as I have to plug that as many times as possible.
Okay, so if Seohyun doesn't end up winning this match, he has you to blame for it. That's what I'm hearing.
No, he can only blame himself.
Okay, I got it. So
but if he wins, he can credit me in the victory.
You heard it here. If you're playing a 4-combo deck by recommendation of Dr. J, if you lose, it's absolutely his fault. Tweet at him and say so. Dr. J.
The handle is at... That's just more engagement, Admirable.
Well, I'm working on it. Working on it. You said you were going to tag me in 80% of your tweets, so...
You're helping me out.
Yeah, I'm farming by proxy in this scenario. Topsy-Turvy Priest, pretty weird iteration of a deck. Its goal is basically to duplicate Divine Spirit a number of times. You stick it onto a Stone Tusk board a number of times. You make multiple Stone Tusk boards. You swap the attack and the health, and you get them.
And this is all possible because Test Subject will allow you to get all of those cards back each time he dies. And with Topsy-Turvy, it guarantees that the Test Subject's going to die. So it's a pleasure to watch. And most, professional players have it down par to where they won't mess up this combo. But, when you're on a stage like this, sometimes, the little bit of pressure can get to you.
Yeah, Test Subject, making all possible. It's a 1-mana 0/2 that says Death Rattle. Return all spells that you played on this minion to your hand. So if you've played any Vivid Nightmares on it, which duplicates the minion, if you've played Divine Spirit on it, and when you Topsy-Turvy it to put those cards back in your hand, you also get the Topsy-Turvy back as part of the Death Rattle combo. So it's what makes the deck work. But you mentioned the difficulty of playing this deck at times and having it down pat, being, the iterations of combo being a vital part of that strategy. But a lot of times assembling the pieces is a pretty difficult process as well. Managing your hand size and staying alive. What are some of the big factors that you think that Seohyun needs to look out for in this one?
So one of the weirdest parts about this deck is, like you were mentioning, you do have to assemble a large combo. The combo is going to be access to at least 2 Radiant Elementals, a Vivid Nightmare, a Test Subject, a Stone Tusk Boar, a Divine Spirit, and a Topsy-Turvy. Now, that is a large amount of cards, but the one benefit that Priest just recently got introduced with Rastakhan's Rumble is Mass Hysteria. Along with that and Psychic Scream and, Spirit Lash for some versatility, you may have enough board clear with card draw to get to that combo very quickly. So Seohyun is going to try and maximize his draw each and every turn to draw the maximum amount of cards without trying to burn one. Now, he does run 2 copies of Topsy-Turvies. He does run 2 copies of Topsy-Turvy that will allow him to use one more liberally, but he's going to want to try and hold on to that to get this combo as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Mass Hysteria is a new card from Rastakhan's Rumble, as Dr. J was talking about. 5 mana, you force each minion on board to randomly attack another minion. So if a minion is at 0 health after its initial attack from Mass Hysteria, it cannot be attacked by any other minion, and if it happens before it attacks, it will not be attacking as part of that pool as well. So in effect, it's like, think of it as Priest Brawl.
I think Priest Brawl is a great way to put it. It's also very cool what you can do with the card, because you can set up scenarios where you guarantee minions die, or you can, with your hero power, you can actually make very niche plays where you may hero power one of their minions to guarantee multiple minions die. It's a very cool, unique take on it. And right now, Seohyun is actually only 3 cards off from the combo. He's gonna need one more Radiant Elemental. Potentially it could be, 2 Vivid Nightmares as long as he has access to one of those. A Vivid Nightmare and Divine Spirit. The one thing Gallon's going to be doing is trying to mount as much pressure or get to the Shutterwalk combo as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think the Shutterwalk combo is the bigger part of it, because you may also notice that Seohyun's, repping Awaken the Makers, the Priest Quest. You play 7, or you summon 7 Death Rattle minions, and as a reward you get Amara. Amara is 5 mana, 8/8 taunt, set your health total to 40.
Like the new Reno Jackson.
That's right, and that is a tool that's really offsetting, the pressure, doing quotey fingers when I say pressure there, that Gallon is going to be able to apply, because it's a very slow process for Gallon to build up a board and attack Seohyun just through minion damage. So Seohyun really racing against the combo that Gallon could assemble here. And with Shutterwalk already in hand, with Grumble already in hand, for Gallon here, it was just a matter of getting the number of chain gangs going. So burning the card here for Gallon, I'd say is quite irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Gallon's not too worried about that, as he does have access to, the complete combo this early. He's already played a Life Drinker, he's already played a Serenite Chain Gang, and he does have Shutterwalk. So that is really going for him. And you see Seohyun here, Power Word Shield, this Grumble, just to dig for more cards.
Ooh, and a Shadow Vision's found. You know, you can also get that combo rolling with just multiple Vivid Nightmares as well. And
Yes.
you know, finding additional copies of any pieces that you need multiple of is a major benefit for Seohyun.
So right now, Seohyun is 2 cards away from the combo. That is either one of the Vivid Nightmares from the deck, the second Radiant Elemental, or the second Radiant Elemental, and a Divine Spirit.
Yeah.
Once he assembles those and hits 9 mana, he wins the game.
You can do it off 8 mana, correct?
You cannot. It's 7 mana or 9 mana. There's no 8 mana combo.
Well, I'm saying you can do it on 8
Oh,
mana.
yes, I'm sorry. You can do it on 8 mana
Yeah.
if you have. You would have to have double
Radiant Elemental.
Radiant Elemental, double Vivid Nightmare.
Yeah.
Very unlikely to happen, but if you do have all those cards, yes, you can do it with 8 mana.
Yeah, it's much more difficult for that to happen. But, you know, it happens sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just playing a ladder game, and you're like, there's no way at 7 mana I'm dead to the Priest with 9 cards in hand. And then they get you. Hey! You were least expecting it.
Gallon going to just try to get cards out of hand to make space for Mana Tide Totem. Desperately wants to draw cards. Not the turn for Mana Tide? Ah, so avoiding a Mass Hysteria turn with the Mana Tide, perhaps?
I think it's more so he's concerned with Psychic Scream because he knows Psychic Scream is going to come out this turn.
Ah, 7
and
mana.
so he doesn't necessarily want to put weaker cards inside of his deck. It's kind of an oxymoron, but he's trying to get rid of cards from his hand in order to get the Shutterwalk down.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't burn the Shutterwalk. So if he plays Mana Tide, well, it could be less beneficial. And that's a second Grumble in the pool.
Well, that's a pretty major deal that Gallon just draws the Grumble right away. That's, you know, shuffled into the deck from Psychic Scream. So with 2 Grumbles in the pool, what that means is both of those would have to happen prior to the 2 Shutterwalk. I'm sorry, prior to the 2 Serenite Chain Gangs in the pool for Shutterwalk to actually fail.
And here's the craziest thing right now. I'm pretty sure Seohyun has a fairly likely chance of drawing the second Radiant Elemental with that Witchwood Piper. The issue is he's still 1 card off. But if he can draw it for turn, he can actually beat Gallon to the combo.
So in this instance, we're looking at Dead Ringer, Loot Hoarder, and Radiant Elemental from the Witchwood Piper. Both copies of Test Subject and Stone Tusk Boar are in hand. Witchwood Piper, of course, draws the lowest cost minion in your deck.
So all of the 1-cost minions are currently in Seohyun's hand. So he is likely to draw Radiant Elemental. Not, I'd say it's, I believe it's
Fairly
30,
likely.
30%. But it's good enough to go for it.
Blood Mage is gone, and it's going to be Loot Hoarder instead. So Seohyun now has the onus of emptying cards from hand as well. You know, managing hand size is a very real issue with this Topsy deck. It's honestly, that's probably the one thing I've struggled with the most, is I often find myself in a turn where I'm going to draw to 10 cards if my opponent kills my board.
Ooh, with the Amara Word of the Hope.
Like right now.
If the Loot Order dies.
Now, that being said, Gallon, you know, is very interested in playing Shutterwalk this turn with Grumble in the pool. What that means is then Seohyun would have to eliminate the Shutterwalks as well in order to make that happen. There's Shutterwalk right away. And so now it's guaranteed for Gallon to continue this chain. So it's a matter of Seohyun being able to kill Gallon before this happens.
Oh, and he
Divine
burns the
Spirit spin!
There's only one in the list, Admiral! That's game.
Seohyun can't win. He has to win with just Amara. That doesn't happen. That's not how the deck works.
And typically, all right, so, yeah, nope.
He's done.
He's done. I was going to say maybe there's some, you know, weird way that enough boars get there, but it's not possible.
The deck is so hard to manage hand size with at every single time because it doesn't. It's not like some other combo decks where you can afford to just throw away vital tools, and then find a duplicate copy of something. You have to fight face up and evenly with this deck pretty much at every single step of the way. That is crazy.
And Gallon, I believe, will just have lethal here with the Shutterwalks. He may have to...
There's one life drinker in the pool right now.
I mean, and to be honest, it doesn't even matter with the Divine Spirit burn. There's no way Seohyun's deck can win.
It would take a colossal amount of error, I think, for Seohyun to win from this point.
because I'm looking at it right now. For Seohyun's sake, I'm wishing this 1 beside Divine Spirit in his deck list was a 2. But it's not. It's a 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is just...
Gallen, he's just content to cycle through the lone Shutterwalk. Says, you know what? Do I need the hand space? I don't think I do. I'm dealing 30 damage this turn. This is a guaranteed 30 damage with a 1-cost Shutterwalk in hand.
So funniest part about this.
Sohyun's not running Seance. He's not running a Zola. There's no way to duplicate this Amara effect.
There is no virtual way for Seohyun to win this game.
It's virtually impossible.
Yes. I was going to say, it would be kind of funny if Gallen played out the control tech, took the Amara, and bounced the Amara, and constantly reset to 40 health.
This is what nightmares are made of. This is what you enjoy.
This is what I enjoy. Shutterwalk Shaman at its finest.
And the way that Gallen has time to do all these animations is as the Shutterwalks get duplicated through this animation, it will technically register as in hand even though the visual effect is on board. So Gallen's able to click through those cards very rapidly and queue up playing 9+ Shutterwalks in a single turn.
APM deck now, Priest.
Shutterwalks is a little bit easier.
Yeah, a little bit easier. But, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due.
I get confused by Topsy-Turvy Priest when I'm actually sitting there playing it. I always feel like I miss lethal every turn.
Just turn 1. I know there's a lethal here. I have 4 in my hand. I have to have lethal. I'm actually curious what Seohyun is holding out for. Because I feel like if Seohyun...
Because Sohyun's no quitter, that's why.
What is he going for?
He's going for board presence. It looked to me like he was going for the perfect mass hysteria outcome, perhaps.
I have no clue.
I don't know.
That Divine Spirit burn.
Down 1-0.
That death rattle.
Scintilla, of course, quite famous for burning super important cards from his deck due to hand size issues.
If you haven't seen it yet, I'm surprised. It has been reran everywhere. I'm pretty sure you can catch it on TV tonight. Might be a 9 o'clock special.
All right, running back to Topsy. Gallen's going to be on Odd Paladin for this one. And
this is an awkward matchup for the Topsy.
It's tough.
Difficult one. It's doable. But, I mean, the issue is Odd Paladin just floods the board so well. And the Priest doesn't have that many ways of clearing the board. It has Spirit Lash, you know, which is okay against the Silverhand recruits early on. But then eventually you get to Mass Hysteria, which it's not as effective as you would like it to be. And Scream is very effective, but they're just going to keep making board after board while you have to assemble this 7-card combo.
Yeah, to me that's the difficulty of the deck, is actually taking advantage of the fact that you're clearing board. You know, I think it's quite easy for Seohyun to actually clear out some boards. I feel like it's difficult for him to follow up on a cleared board.
Yes.
You know, I watched this matchup happen, and I feel like I really want Wild Pyromancer in Topsy-Turvy Priest. Even though, like, you don't have a ton of spells that you can just expend, it's just the ability to wipe out 1/1 minions for, you know, 2 turns in a row seems like a major deal.
Wild Pyromancer would be very powerful in this matchup, but the issue is, I'm looking at this deck list right now, Admirable, and there is not much room for cards like Wild Pyromancer. I mean, you need the Psychic Screams and Mass Hysterias, you need the draw power, and you need the combo. And I'm looking at it, I don't understand. Maybe you could cut a second Tusk subject.
Ugh.
That's it. That's all I can see that you could cut in this deck.
I mean, Awaken the Makers is so vital against aggressive decks, too. Like, you know, Death Rattles are pretty key early on for the deck to get rolling. And, you know, if you don't have the early Death Rattle minions, you know, that's what we saw from Seohyun on stream earlier in the day, is the fact that he just didn't have Death Rattle chains and never really got the ball rolling. So once the ball's rolling, is it worth it more to have Wild Pyromancer, or is it worth it more to, you know, have very key cards like Awaken the Makers in there so that you can stabilize against an aggressive deck?
I think Awaken the Makers is very vital. I was playing the deck without it, and I had no chance against aggro. I think it actually gives you legitimately some kind of chance.
Now, if you have Wild Pyromancer,
okay,
you can hold on to your quest on turn number 1 and play it when you play the Wild Pyromancer.
Blasphemy.
Think about
Quest start in the opening hand for a reason, Admirable. If you're not playing a quest on 1, what are you doing?
it. Sometimes you're playing a Firefly, like Quest
Sometimes
Rogue.
you're coining a hero power, like Quest Rogue.
Sometimes.
Sometimes Quest Rogue's the only deck you really do that for.
You know, coin hero power a little bit wacky, and I'd say in oh, that's just to make quest progress. Oh my gosh, I've never done that.
You've never done that
I'm
before?
so dumb. That's
one of the-
so
That's one
important.
of the cool plays.
It is so important to be doing to get to your way. Oh, okay, yeah, you definitely need to Awaken the Makers in this deck.
Yes, for sure.
I just forgot you could do that.
Because you're dumb.
You know, I feel like I'm having flashbacks to ladder now, where I should have won like 6
where
of
you
these
were like
games.
one Death Rattle minion away, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh! If only I drew the second
I'm like, these
Deathbringer."
stupid test subjects.
They're just sitting in my hand right now. I can't do anything
This
with
stupid
them.
topsy-turvy. What am I supposed to do with these? The answer is make progress on your quest. Nice little trick I just learned there.
Eddie probably learned that because he plays on his phone.
Eddie learned that because Eddie's smart. Eddie is Seohyun.
Eddie's a genius when it comes to Hearthstone.
It's also just combo decks. You know, that feels like a big specialty of Seohyun is being able to pilot decks that have unique win conditions. They can Taunt Druid, they can Cube Warlock. Like I've seen him set up some strange-looking boards with those decks.
He definitely like latches on decks like that. He's a very combo-heavy decks where you know, not every game is very straightforward. For instance, Odd Paladin, very powerful deck. You know, it does take a lot of, you know, thought process behind playing it, but sometimes.
Whoa! This is some sort of weird mass hysteria thing that Gallon's doing.
I think it's because if he trades and Seohyun does nothing, then he can't Fungal Mancer on the following turn.
Ah, that too.
So he wants to leave one board space open for the Fungal Mancer.
Oh, no,
he's
you're
currently
much
hovering
smarter.
over.
Yeah, that's much smarter. Gallon's even trying to tell me through, like,
I know, he's
telekinesis
he's
here.
hovering over the card going, I know Admirable's missing this right now. I'm going to help him out.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he's thinking. He's also just trying to show the stream that, I imagine, like anyone who's going to question Gallon. Don't question Gallon. Gallon good. That's what I've learned.
Good Alan. I don't think he wants us to patent that name, but
Gallon good.
It's kind of growing
Nope,
on me.
you're wrong.
Growing Alan.
You're just going to associate G words and Allen?
Sure. Why not?
All right, you know what? I'm done here.
Wouldn't be the first time a
Take it off.
co-caster left me.
You're on your own.
Mass hysteria. How does the math work out here?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna play it.
I'm just going to assume it clears the board. I mean, Seohyun cannot afford to use his Topsy-Turvy because it is his last Topsy-Turvy.
Yeah, there is an opportunity cost of 2 health.
All right, let's see
As
what
well.
happens. I'll
Down
take
to a
it.
lone corridor.
He probably could have been better somewhere along the lines, but I'll take it.
Yeah, that extra 1/1 actually, I don't believe would have changed any instances of this. I think Gallon would just have a 2/2 corridor creeper.
It might have actually left an extra minion on the board.
I don't think it does, because every minion's going to attack at some point.
Yeah, probably. Fungal Mancer for 1 minion, Admirable.
I like damage.
I'm feeling it. This is the chosen Mancer. He is the chosen one to lead Odd Paladin
I mean,
to
do you
victory.
see another way to win?
I mean, if you had better follow-up, I would say potentially.
I mean, I think that Gallon is weighing the potential of just drawing level up next turn, like going wide on board with the Lost to the Jungle and just going, hope I draw level up.
I guess you do put on the same amount of pressure. You don't get more immediate damage, but you put on a similar amount of pressure. Now, if he does this and doesn't hero power, it's because he's playing around Spirit Lash.
Yeah, so now Spirit Lash is the main consideration for Gallon. He just wants to be strong against that, use Fungal Mancer and Vine Cleaver to close.
But at that point, why not just Fungal Mancer that turn?
He wants the minions.
I guess also,
Hand space for Divine Favor? No Divine Favor. Yep, I'm sorry, 2 Divine Favors in the deck. Excuse me. Thinking for Raid Leader? Tink Master Overspark,
Potentially.
Unidentified Maul. You know, there's a lot Void Ripper. There's a lot of draws that enhance the damage with Fireflies.
I also technically think that, you know, if you land a Fungal Mancer this turn, which you are most likely to do, you do net the same amount of damage. The previous turn it would have been 4. This turn you only push 2, but you add another 2, plus you're going to get hopefully 4 from the Fungal Mancer from 2 minions sticking, so you push the same amount of damage in the long run.
Gallon good.
Mind if I roll knee?
Howard would have shook his head at me. He knew where I was going with that.
Fastest Fungal Mancer I ever did see.
That was the quickest Fungal Mancer this side of the Mississippi.
Yep. Gallon, this also, you can see, a different angle set up here as well, where Seohyun is going to be on Psychic Scream this turn, and then Gallon gets to plow down Vine Cleaver and force Seohyun to occupy 2 more mana on the following turn. Those 2 1/1s are going to make up that 2 damage, so this was a fairly brilliant setup here from Gallon to really pressure Seohyun.
He's going to need a Spear Lash. Psychic Stream isn't enough.
And at 5 of 7, he needed Twilight's Call here to get 2 Death Rattle minions.
You think he can run the boar in and still win the game?
No, I don't. Odd Paladin does not really slow down on its approach to the game. You know, sometimes its turns are going to be weaker or stronger than others, but it pretty much keeps going.
I will say, though, maybe there's a hypothetical world where Seohyun runs this Stone Tusk Boar in. He lives at 1 life. He then goes off with the combo. He just makes a giant Radiant and then topsy-turvies it the following turn to kill.
Wow.
I think that's the world Seohyun's living in.
Well,
I mean, he's dead to Raid Leader.
yeah,
But
you're saying with no additional damage.
exactly. Oh, and King Mukla making an appearance.
2-0 Gallon. Seohyun continues to, on stream at any hand, struggle with the Topsy-Turvy Priest. Now,
This Topsy-Turvy Priest is 0-4 on stream right now, Admiral.
Now, that being said, Seohyun's sitting at a 3-1 match score right now.
It has to be winning somewhere. It's the power of the phone.
He's been playing on his phone this event.
If he was on his phone with this Priest right now, he is just hitting his wall.
Ooh,
with
and he's
this
talking to
Priest.
himself, too. Giving a little pep talk, saying, you know what? Don't give up. Seohyun, you got this.
I do think this is a great matchup for the Priest, though. So I definitely think this is, one of the decks that Seohyun isn't too upset queuing into.
I think it's definitely more the territory where Seohyun can flourish. It's not, consistent impending doom of minions that continue to march turn after turn. It's more of a slower pace matchup for Gallon. Now, we say that as Keleseth is in the opening hand, but talk to me about what Seohyun's got to do in this one.
So Seohyun's going to be capitalizing on obviously drawing as many cards as quickly as possible, but the one beneficial thing about this matchup is, like you said, it is a very slow mid-range approach, which this Priest deals with much better than a hyper-aggressive approach. So the hyper-aggressive approach from the Paladin is just, spamming the board with the 1/1s, and eventually Seohyun is going to run out of just any kind of board removal. But this one, with Psychic Scream, you scream away 1 board, and it's very hard for Hunter to make that board again. Now, as I say that, your eyes got big at that Katharina just drawn.
Yeah.
And Katharina is one of those crucial cards in this matchup.
Yeah, and, I'm looking at Charged Devilsaur. I'm looking at King Crush being 2 of the major reasons that Katharina is so brutal versus slower decks is, it's 2 big things at once, and one of them crashes in immediately. Very often.
It also demands an answer.
Engaging
You do not answer Katharina.
into dislocation.
You're dead.
Yeah, Gallon going to apply the Mind Control tech for pressure here. The intent for him next turn is the egg plus the play dead.
Yeah, a lot of people, you think, well, why did you play the egg that turn? There's no reason to. You can go ahead and do this on the next turn.
And with second Grizzly drawn, what that means is, unless Psychic Scream shuffles stuff into the deck, Katharina's guaranteed to pull a charge minion right now.
I definitely think the Psychic Scream is going to be coming out before Katharina can hit the board, especially with the 2 in hand. And we see there, Seohyun is just trying to do progress on this quest. That's all he wants right now, because he realizes he is dying, and he is dying fast.
Yeah.
Now, if he can stage off 1 more turn, he can go for the coin Psychic Scream.
Yeah, that's a part of the test subjects too, is the Spirit Lashes in hand. You know, able to just absorb that little bit of extra health while making quest progress at the same time.
We'll also get 2 Vivid Nightmares.
Yep.
From how it worked out.
The copy, of course, absorbs the buffs from the first one as well.
Helps out quite a bit when you're trying to get that combo. It's another interesting idea behind, you know, playing Vivid Nightmare on one of the Death Rattle minions, is not only do you get quicker to your quest, but also, you know, Seohyun just turned 1 Vivid Nightmare into 2 while setting up a better play for future turns with that double Spirit Lash.
Gained some health as well, stave off some of the pressure. This turn from Gallon to me is quite interesting, where I'm curious if there's ever a merit to cubing one of your own minions to prevent it from watering down the Katharina later on. You're anticipating Psychic Scream. If Seohyun doesn't have Psychic Scream in this spot, he's in pretty bad shape.
It looks like Gallon's just going for the opposite approach, just saying, you know what, I'm ending this game now.
This is what I would tend to favor, because you get to start, you know, cycling in the hero powers as well, and that's, you know, a pretty important deal. You get to back this up with another minion next turn and do another hero power, so you're making progress on Seohyun's life total, while at the same time. It's not necessarily a bad thing, though. You know, that's a big turn 9 play now.
It is, but you much rather have that off of the Katharina.
Yeah, but you'd also rather it be that than the Charged Devil's Sword. King Crush go face, Charged Devil's Sword sometimes go face.
You do have to remember, there are 2 Devil Swords in the deck right now.
Oh, that's right. There's the
2 Devil Swords got shuffled in from the Psychic Scream.
and a Witchwood Grizzly.
And a Witchwood Grizzly. So the odds of pulling Charged Devil Sword right now, very unlikely.
So King Crush actually could be a blessing in that regard. You've watered down the chances to get a super impactful beast from Katharina, and instead you got it in hand.
Seohyun is just trying to get to this quest. Just trying his hardest.
Wow. And now the
draws the Charged Devil Sword.
Well, so now Gallon has no charge damage from the Katharina and actually may forego it as a result.
To be honest, I'm looking at it right now. I don't think
it makes a lot of sense to forego it as well because of the King Crush, but Seohyun doesn't really gain any life outside of Spirit Lash in this spot. You know, it's either set to 40 or nothing.
I think Seohyun's dead. I don't think there's anything he can do. Even
5
if
of
he fits
7.
in a hero power, he would need to get Amari the Warden of Hope this turn. And I'm not sure how he does it with the mana allocated.
Oh, you're right.
He needs 2 Death Rattle minions. He's just dead. Topsy-turvy Priest. Just got 3-0'd.
Yeah, he's 100% dead.
Can't do anything. He would need to get Amari the Warden of the Hope down. The issue is, he's only got 7 mana. Amari has to be casted for 5.
Must consider.
I'm not a believer in the Priest, Admirable.
Not too quickly.
Wow. I'm kind of shocked by this, honestly.
I am too. This was its best matchup, I'd say. Besides maybe the Shutterwalk Shaman. That was a little unfortunate with the burn.
Yeah, Seohyun seen enough. Gallon 3-0 in this one. Moves it to a 4-1 match record, I believe.